Welcome back to Lantern Insights. Today we're going to be finishing off the final two matches of the league that I released last Friday. Only got 3 matches in there as that video is going pretty long, but if you want to see the rest of it, I'll put a card for it here. We went a bit more in depth in the deck tech in that video, but I'll just go over it quickly here. We're playing all the Tron lands with the Lantern pieces, mainly looking to use Karn the Great Creator to provide both consistent access to extra copies of Lantern and Snaring Bridge, and we have a Pixis sideboard, but then also just a lot of singleton targets that can help in a variety of matchups. So mainly looking to just leverage Karn, as it's often hard to get to enough mana for Karn in more traditional shells. Anyway, that's the quick deck tech. If you want a full discussion of it, it'll be in the other video, and I'll see you for round 4. Alright, on the draw here, I think this hand is pretty solid. Like we talked about, we don't need to have all the Tron lands in our hand game 1. We'll just go Lantern, Shredder, Sphere, and then I don't know where my Alright, Spire Bluff Canal into Murktide, or into Ragavan is probably Murktide here. Just going to lead on Forest and Codex Shredder here. We'll likely play Saga into Lantern Sphere next turn, then giving us the ability to either make a 4/4 or do another play the next turn. They do exile a Forest, which is pretty good. Oh, the Shadow Spear. Okay, so this is likely probably more likely to be either in Soul Artifact Shell, something like that. They're somewhat likely to have Urza Saga, I would say, so we're probably going to save this Boseiju here, as it could be pretty relevant. 3 cards in their hand, everything resolved pretty quickly. Oval Chase Daredevil. Okay, so this is significantly different from Murktide. Giving the Ragavan lifelink we don't care too much about. And we do have an answer for Cookbook if they find it. Mana Silex not super useful here. I think we're likely just making constructs. There's no really any point in playing the Silex. Only really there for color fixing, and with our forest already, we should be in good shape. Yeah, they're free to fetch here. Just checking we don't have a Shadow Spear of our own. Our 4/4s, like our constructs, are going to be pretty good size, and I think we definitely let him hit the Sylvan Scrying. I don't think we're too concerned with that. We will try to make a construct. It likely eats a removal spell of some sort here. Galvanic Blast. Okay, I mean, I'd rather Galvanic Blast be going at a construct than going at us. So, and we know they have Daredevil plus 2 unknowns in hand. I think we're in pretty decent shape here. Another tower we're not likely to play, but it does give us the option of getting, yeah, probably a Saga, I think. Yeah, they do get a Saga, which we will blow up with this. We have a couple lines here. Either way, I think we make a construct. See if they have a removal spell for it. If they Galvanic Blast it here, I think can go for Expedition Map to get Tron for Karn. I think that's probably the route to go here. We'll play Tower and then have Karn in a turn. Gonna play tower. Scrying on top, we're not too worried about. Do we want to draw? Still in scrying, 2 cards in hand, 1 card's a Daredevil. No, I don't really need it here. We'll just, and if they want another Saga, that's the worst they can probably have is a Pithing Needle. But if they don't know we have Karn, I'm not too worried about that. They are playing Asmo, but I think we should be in good shape here, able to we spend 2 mana, get Tron, we then have 5 mana. Not quite enough to get do we want them to have Asmo here? Probably not. I don't want to give them the cookbook. I mean, I guess they have cookbook Daredevil loops now anyway, so they can make pretty good sized constructs. I assume another Urza Saga. And I think here we're just gonna we don't really want them to have this Inti. So if we spend 2 mana, get Tron, we can have 5 mana, which doesn't let us Karn bridge. I think we want to hold Beseiju up here to ensure we don't die, as they can make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They can make an 8/8 construct that we don't really want them to have. So we can play Saga, hold up double Beseiju with this Chromatic Sphere. I think that's the play here. We don't really want them to have Inti either, so we'll let go wait till their upkeep to mill any of that. Yep, we'll let them make a construct. We are going to be using Beseiju to blow up constructs, not sagas, unfortunately, but I think we're still in good shape. They discard a Asmo. Well, Inti, we don't really want them to have. I think it provides them pretty good value here. Stomping Ground, we can let them have. We are going to respond to the search trigger. So we're going to let this Urza Saga resolve, and then with this one, we are going to Beseiju this construct, as we don't want them to get Pithing Needle. And so they can hit us for 3 here. Obviously getting Chromatic Star from us isn't great, but it's also not like the end of the world. They have 1 unknown in hand. I don't think it's super likely that it's a counter spell. I guess the worst it could be is probably a Shrapnel Blast. They're going to get Inti back from their graveyard. I guess they can recycle Street Wraiths, but for the most part I think we're not too concerned with Cookbook. I mean, triggering this Inti repeatedly is not great, but so they're going to exile Ledger Shredder. Good with letting them have it. So we take 4 here. Yeah, I think we can let them have a Chromatic Sphere. I doubt that they have too many answers main deck. And I'd much rather have a Codex Shredder on top. I wonder if that makes it worth it to... if we draw this Shredder, we spend 2 mana, get Tron. play Tron, then have Karn bridge. Yeah, I think we're safe enough that we can... Oh, actually what we can do... We're just gonna do this. Draw it, the Shredder here, and then activate Expedition Map looking for Urza's Mine. And we find another one on top. This Inti is still going to be able to attack, which I don't love. But it is what it is. Hopefully they don't have... so they're going to exile an Inti. This will shut down all of their constructs, shredders, tokens, food. Or shut down a lot from their perspective. Floating white. Okay, they're going to make a construct. So you're obviously presenting us with a lot of damage here. However, we are just going to get Ensnaring Bridge. Yes, we would like to use Karn's ability. And we're going to grab an Ensnaring Bridge. Play out Bridge. We will have to mill this Lightning Bolt. Do we besage? Actually, we can probably besage you. If we besage you here, oh, it just counts legendary creatures. So we'll just play Shredder and then upkeep going to mill them for one. Importantly, if they have something like Haywire Might, Karn does shut that off. Although this Inti is unfortunately going to be able to kill Karn here, as we don't have any blockers. But I think we're in pretty good shape. We'll just let the Lantern part of the deck take over from here. I got another cookbook. So they're going to go to combat and they're attacking us. Yes, they are attacking us, not Karn, which is pretty good for us here. Unless they have a way of dealing us 2 damage. Which they might have. I don't think. They had a bolt. Oh, never mind. We are indeed dead. Did I let them have that bolt? Huh. Unfortunate. Yeah. Well, sideboarding. We're going to bring in these dismembers. Did I let them have bolt? I may have punted there. I can't remember if I let them have bolt accidentally or if it just got through. In terms of sideboarding, I think I want these dismembers. They hit Inti, Asmo, Ragavan, a lot of relevant hits in their deck. And then in terms of what I want to take out, Needle is still relevant. Often these strategies it's not as relevant, but against theirs they do play a lot of Needle targets. They also likely have some number of Besajus. I think we can probably cut a Scrying. Not great if Ragavan hits it. And maybe we'll just trim one of these Silexes. And let's see how this goes. Yeah, as we can see there, sometimes the mana with this deck is a bit clunky. We got 2 parts of Tron. Good enough. Looking for some green mana at some point, but I think it's a pretty reasonable hand. Bridge obviously is going to be very strong against them if we're able to get it online, and with Bridge in hand, if we can use Karn to get Lantern. Turn 1 monkey. We do have the spell skite, which can probably block it. I think if we draw land, we are more likely to use spell skite as a blocker than otherwise, but we definitely block the Regivan. If they have bolts, then they kill skite, but they probably name a Tron land here, or they might name Saga. Where's this tower? Alright, joke's on you, we don't have it in hand yet. And we're just gonna laugh at them playing Alpine Moon. Importantly, I think we can... Oh, Spell Pierce. Oh, that's fine. No. If they had a bolt of some kind, I think they would have attacked with Regivan. Bolt or Galvanic Blast. Or maybe they could have also just been holding Spell Pierce up anyway here. So maybe that's not a great read. Them countering Bridge is not the end of the world. Obviously these Sagas are going to be pretty good. They likely have some number of Pithing Needles, so probably having to rely on Karn here. Although this Dismember is going to be pretty good. I think we are also just going to make constructs and then look to dismember something of theirs at some point. And we are going to respond to this here, as we don't want them getting Needle on Saga. It's actually one line that I've done in Saga Mirrors, is if your Saga comes off, like if chapter 3 of your Saga happens first, you can probably get Shadow Spear. If your chapter 3 happens first, you can get Pithing Needle in order to shut down your opponent making constructs when you are already ahead. So it is a very relevant line that actually comes up more than you would think. We do kind of want a fourth land here, as we would like to resolve this Karn. And like if we can Karn Bridge, we get Haywire Might, which they can't cast yet. So we are going to be able to get a Needle to shut down Haywire Might. And we're just going to take 4 here. So yeah, they don't have access to green mana, but I don't particularly want to have to keep them off green mana for the rest of the game. No land here is pretty unfortunate. We are going, I guess they can only hit Shredder right now, but it's going to be relevant a lot later. Yeah, we're just gonna pass through here. I guess I shouldn't totally yield, but we're in reasonable. I mean, obviously not getting these lands is not good, but like if we get Pithing Needle on Cookbook, they are just able to exile it with Haywire Might, so not in good shape anyway. And yeah, they are making pretty big constructs here. I think they get Shadow Spear. Nope, they get another Cookbook. And so they can grow these up to 10/10s. I think we're pretty dead. Trading 2 for 1 here. I don't have anything else going on. I think we just die before. Yeah, that's F6 here. Unfortunate. That game 1. Did I punt? I may have missed a bolt coming through. I don't think there's anything we can draw here. So we'll save some time and move on to the final round. Kind of unfortunate there. I'll have to go back and look at it. Was there a bolt on top in their upkeep and I skipped through it too quickly? I'm not sure. But yeah, the Tron list, like, you know, I'm definitely not super sold on it. I would say it's a noticeable step down from many of the other versions. The lack of discard is very noticeable. We saw it in the first couple games where against Living End, just not being able to answer Force of Negation was very relevant. You know, we basically had no answer to Force, and therefore just kind of got bridged Forced, and we were in trouble. But hopefully we can close it out on the play. I like this hand. We have access to Stirrings, Lantern, Saga can get Shredder, one piece of Tron, hopefully Needle if it's relevant. And it's a pretty solid hand here. Yeah, Tron Lantern, I guess maybe if you're facing a lot of artifact decks or decks where Karn is very good, then it can be a reasonable choice, but for the most part I'd just stick to a more traditional list. So we're looking for, I guess we'll take another Tron land. The best hit would have been a Codex Shredder, but Tron is fine. Next turn, or honestly probably play Saga, as we want to get the lock a bit faster, and we can't get Karn before turn 4 anyway. Saga on turn 2 is I would say is the most common play pattern for this deck. There's few matchups where you want Saga on 1, but for the most part, just with our land count, you want it a bit lower. Fetch Shock, Watery Grave. So this is either Shadow or Blue-Black Ring. They took Karn. I want to say kind of Blue-Black Ring seems like a reasonable, like Dimir Ring. Well, another Thoughtseize makes playing out that Needle not look great. But, Blackleaf Cliffs, okay, more likely Shadow then. They just didn't want us having access to Karn. So we're just gonna let them. I mean, we don't damage them at all, but they can fetch Shock Thoughtseize here, put them down to 9, and make some fairly large Death Shadow pretty quickly. And with map, we can get Tron in 3 turns if we find a payoff, but if we don't, we'll just be relying on Urza's Saga and don't necessarily need Tron. Oh, opponent's also on Saga, which isn't super common. This could be a Grixis Lantern? No way. Probably a Saga. They could have Karns of their own. I think that's reasonable. We're just gonna play the tower here and look to make constructs, and hope that our constructs are better. Ooh, Thopter Sword. Huh, interesting. All right, so that it does help to explain why they took Karn, as it obviously shuts down their main combo. We're likely getting Relic here. Interesting time for them to make a construct, as they are a graveyard-based combo deck. Make a construct, and we may be using this map to get more Tron, more Urza Saga instead of Tron pieces. And we're gonna play Expedition map, and then we are gonna start attacking here. As if they take this, we now have multiple lethal attackers. I guess we could have held Relic up. I think it's pretty hard for them to. So they can always needle Relic. But I think we're still pretty ahead. as they are going to have to chump each turn if they want to live. Well, they're going to needle map, so they could have answers to constructs. And they're just going to play out a sword. Sword is actually pretty good with... Alright, so they have Thopter Sword here, giving them effectively unlimited blockers. Although in this case it is 2, which are both going to have to die, and then we are going to have to find some answer. Attach it to that creature. Well, Boseiju is pretty good. Look to destroy a foundry with it, or actually, I think we just go for lethal here. So if we destroy this construct and swing, they're at 7. Never mind. And we'll still discard this Thopter Foundry. They could have Emery something to get it back, but we should have attacked first. I forgot they had gained the 1 life, so I was thinking our 2 constructs were both lethal, and that if we blew up 1 construct, we yeah, okay. 5 and 1 looks good to me. Still think we're in good shape with Pithing Needle coming off. Alright, them having another Thopter Foundry on top isn't good, but we will... Next turn we're probably playing Needle, holding up Relic. And importantly, if they... Yes, they don't have blue mana right now for the Thopter Foundry, so they have to play blue mana. I mean, we just gotta find a way to deal them 1 damage at some point without them getting the ring. I don't know where the ring is. Talisman of Dominance in the exile zone. They can't play the ring here. They can play Thopter Foundry. My guess is they put the Thopter Foundry that we knew about into hand. Oh, we forgot to use Relic at the end of their turn. Oh, we're gonna play Needle. Thopter Foundry. Although I guess they either... They have enough other artifacts that I think needling the Foundry makes more sense than needling the ring there. You can make an argument to needle the ring, and then if they go for the Foundry combo, you can exile their graveyard, which is good if they are relying on Sword of the Meek. However, they have like enough other artifacts that I think they can buy enough turns just by like sacking their Talisman and things like that, that they're going to have a lot of draw steps to try to find it. I don't think we really change anything. There's Spellskite, Karn. Spellskite's probably good if they have removal spells. Obviously we'd like some ley lines. They look to be playing Hand Disruption, but we don't have them in this package. Dismember is not really relevant, so I'll just run it back and hope we can pull out one of the next 2 games. That is, I mean, winning game 1 is such a huge advantage, regardless of what deck you're playing. But you'll see here. Huh. Just seeing on another news tab that Lewis Hamilton will be leaving Mercedes and joining Ferrari. Very cool. don't follow F1 super closely, but if there's a, I think we just keep and hope to find a payoff. I don't know if there are any F1 people. Not something I watch a ton. Do watch. Obviously, I'm Canadian, so I watch a lot of hockey. But it's be my sport watching of choice. Got the Super Bowl in a couple weeks. Don't want to say anything too strong, one team or another. Get some fans ticked off at me. But yeah, this hand, if they Thoughtseize and take map, we can hopefully do some things with Saga. I like having Spellskite here to eat some of their removal spells, and having Tron online gives us a lot of top deck flexibility. This mine, if it was like maybe a second forest, I think would be a touch better. I think their list is interesting. I don't know. We didn't see a ton of blue lands, but I guess they could have fetched differently in order to play Urza. Obviously, going infinite with Thopter Sword Urza is a list that, like, Thopter Sword is something that has been explored in Lantern. I think my personal favorite way to do it was using a transformational sideboard, where you put the whole combo in the sideboard, and then in matchups where the Lantern lock is not great, you are able to bring in the combo. And it's quite fun. Let me see if I can pull. Oh, our opponent is back, so I won't have to show it, but might play it at some point on the channel. It's more a paper deck that I was liking. Let's just play map as we do. Oh, we maybe just be Saga on turn 2, because it seems they have a lot of red lands. Talisman red again. They're probably needling map here. So if they needle map, we're definitely playing Saga. Third mine. Just gonna play Saga into Spellskite. They have like Shattering Spree. Maybe their most common. If they play Urza, the One Ring. I mean, obviously this is not good for us, but we will eventually be able to get a needle for it. Mana Silex is very useless here. We're just going to hold up Construct activations, make 2 5/5s, and get Pithing Needle on the ring. Hopefully, I mean, ideally they don't hit another ring, as if they kind of put like a couple counters on it and then aren't able to find another one, and we needle it, it can kill them in a couple turns. Yeah, that's fine. Probably taking Codex Shredder and looking at our hand of mostly doing nothing. Yep, they take the Shredder, probably not wanting us to get a Lantern off this Saga, but we have to answer the One Ring. It's very good, powerful against the. We might have to get a Needle on Goblin Engineer. We'll see what they probably just get a Sword of the Meek. So we could get Needle on Thopter Foundry. We are going to be able to crack in for a pretty good chunk of damage here. Let's see what we draw. Grabbing a forest doesn't change much here. Our needle, I think Thopter Foundry is worse for us than them drawing cards, as they didn't look at least game 1 to have a ton of answers to creatures. These are going to be pretty beefy guys. Let's play another mine that they know about. So Forest is their only card that they don't know about. they're going to be able to draw a lot off the ring. But I think they, so aggressively putting sword in the graveyard, I think it's pretty likely that they can have a Thopter Foundry in hand. And with what our board state looks like right now, attacking with constructs is going to be a much cleaner route to victory than locking down the ring and just giving them basically it's as many 1/1s as they have mana, so they'd be able to spit out 5 1/1s and gain 5 life a turn, and with this board state we can't beat that. Obviously this is this doesn't seem to be as all in and getting Urza out, like we haven't seen an Urza yet. I guess they could play one here, but they'd have to chump with it. Importantly, without a ring they will be taking an extra 3 damage, so we have lethal. Expressive iteration, I think this is good that they're casting that. That's much better than will make it hard for them to play a ring. I don't think they've played a land yet. They have not played a land, so we're in good shape here. They kind of have to answer us, although if they do find an answer, then we are in trouble. But it has to be an answer that gets around Spellskite. So there aren't a ton of cards, and they do just find a land. So Brotherhood's End would be very bad. I mean, we probably just auto lose if we get Brotherhood's Ended here. Talisman of Dominance. I mean, with 2 mana, they don't have much they can do. I think we're in pretty good shape. Like we're gonna hit you for 12. If they play, okay, Saga is their land, so they're leaving the cliffs in exile. Brotherhood's End here is, okay, Thopter Foundry, we have Pithing Needle on it. So, you just die? If we can get an artifact. Huh. Not quite the right artifact to get here, but your own ring kills you. You're down to 1, and oops, we forgot to play a land. I think they just die. Bounce the Needle. Spellskite? So they were planning on bouncing the Needle and then gaining 3 with the Thopter Foundry, and yeah, obviously we're gonna take that. We finish off with a 2/3. Let me head back to the list. Overall, the first two games were against Living End, both of which we just kind of learned that this build, Lantern Tron, is not very good against Force of Negation, as just lacking discard or counter spells, you don't have any real way of combating it. The third round against Rhinos, I think it's a good matchup for us regardless of what version you're on, and we just kind of managed to get the right draws in that game, and they didn't have a ton of Force of Negations. This first game that we saw today, round 1, I gotta gonna have to watch it back. I don't remember if I let them have the bolt or if it was their last card. If I let them have the bolt, total punt. If it was their last card, kind of just unfortunate. And the last round was against Thopter combo. Seemed like a cool list, but just able to put enough pressure on us quickly. Overall, if we head back to the list, things I would change after this, probably cut a few green cards, honestly. Like Sylvan Scrying, I think we're less all in on Tron, and so like I mentioned a couple times how we were keeping a lot of hands without Tron lands or a plan to get Tron, and so with that in mind, like Sylvan Scrying just isn't as relevant. Stirrings was still good, but I think you probably play a couple Stirrings, maybe cut some of these Mana Silexes. I liked the Spheres. They were able to do some cool things. Karn, Mystic Forge, I mean, these were obviously our best cards. Mystic Forge, there was one game that it like totally won us against Rhinos. And yeah, those are my thoughts in terms of whether I'll be playing this deck too much more. I don't think I'll be playing it a ton more. You know, it was cool to try out, interesting idea, but don't think it's going to be super crucial to the future of Lantern. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Sorry that this later games were a bit delayed, but better than a 2.5 hour video. Anyway, have a good one, and I will see you next time.